And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop. As we join you here on Facebook Live. So now we're on Facebook Live. Here we go. So facebook.com/live-now-dt, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Happy to be here with you, hanging out where sports truly meets that thing called life. You're watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on Facebook Live on facebook.com/live-now-dt, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course, here with us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So we thank you for being a part of the show, and thank you for hanging out with us here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I hope you're having yourselves a tremendous day. Hopefully you're enjoying your day today and making the most of your day as we start off a brand new week. A lot of great stuff coming up for you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm ecstatic that my guests, we've started off February with a lot of amazing people, and, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I truly believe, thanks to the awesome guests we have, never disappoints when it comes to bringing on people that really have awesome stories to tell, awesome angles to tell their stories, and so much more. So, and are just, fun people in general, and people that I respect and I appreciate and really enjoy having on the broadcast. So with that being said, a lot of great stuff coming up today inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and we'll start off today's broadcast in just a couple minutes with my good buddy and co-host of MU Courtside for the last 2 years that I was on campus, and then he took it over for a year after I had left. That's Joe Forgione. Joe Forgione's going to be joining us today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to talk about TB12, the big game, being Marywood alumni, and so much more. Inevitably, we'll make some jokes, and we'll have some fun here this morning, as Joe and I always seem to have a good time. So very happy to have Joe Forgione joining me on the show at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time here in just a moment. And then we'll be joined in hour number 2 by Aaron Hackett. Aaron Hackett will be joining us at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and Mr. Hackett will be speaking with us about his journey from Venice High School in Venice, Florida, all the way up the coast to Syracuse, and ultimately playing 4 seasons at Syracuse. And due to the pandemic, one of the positives that came out of the pandemic was a bonus year. So he played all 4 seasons, wasn't redshirted at all, played all 4 seasons at Syracuse, and then ended up with an opportunity to play an extra 5th season of college football, which was never available before like this, where you could play a full 5 seasons, and God willing he will, and do it in a fantastic way. He decided to use his last season and head off to another school and challenge himself. So he's at Texas Christian University at TCU with the Horned Frogs. We'll talk with him about that decision, why he ultimately thought it was the right reason to leave Syracuse and spend his final season of eligibility elsewhere, why TCU, to him was a good fit, as well as his care for Syracuse, his love and concern and desire for Syracuse to do well if they handled him properly when he was here as a tight end. What he thinks about his involvement in the offense, as well as Luke Benson and company that now take over, and his thoughts on that. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You're not going to want to miss a moment of Aaron Hackett's story. And I would just like to tell people, in all honesty, he's a huge fan of Syracuse, loves Syracuse, will always bleed orange. So for those of you thinking, well, he left here, screw that, the story is so much deeper than that. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears to Syracuse. He gave 4 years to Syracuse, got his degree here at Syracuse, and then decided that in order to get to the NFL, he needs to be in an offense that he felt was going to fit him. And obviously his skill set, he doesn't want to just block, he wants to catch the ball as well, and he wants to be able to showcase that, and ultimately wants to go to the NFL. So I don't knock him at all for doing what he thinks is best for his overall career, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do from here, as I am a big fan of Mr. Hackett. So with that being said, Aaron Hackett will be joining us at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Joe Forgione is going to be joining us in just a second here where sports meets life. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, inside of the Cafe Football studios. When we come back, Mr. Forgione will be joining us to speak on sports and life. Fellow Marywood alumni joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We joined each other first on MU Courtside, and we will do it again here on Wake Up Call right after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Football offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafefootball.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Football needs. Cafe Football, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Happy to be here hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Football studios. We're here with my guy, Mr. Joe Forgione. He's joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora after joining me when I asked him to be a part of MU Courtside for the last couple seasons, and he took over for a year, took care of something that I care about so very much at Marywood University, did a fantastic job, and now we are here this morning to talk with you and share some time with you. So very happy to be here and very honored to be here with Mr. Forgione. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Joe, how are we doing today?
Hey, good morning, Dan. Great to be here, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and now that you're on the phone, we don't have to worry if you have a shirt on or not.
No, and I don't, and that's fine. But you're just hurting the people that can't see me, which is something it's fine. It's expected.
Did you like the fact that in order to find a picture of you, I found a nice one of you in a shirt and tie, and I decided to very gently and sweetly cut Crystal right out of it. So.
Yeah, that's one of the more modest pictures you'll find of me, which is probably what you had to siphon through. If I don't have to wear a shirt, I'm not gonna.
Is she upset by any chance that I cut her out of this picture to get like a headshot of you? Is she okay?
I don't know if she's seen it just yet, but I can tell you right now she won't be okay with it. How is married life? In the time that you and I have spoken, when we first spoke back at Marywood and whatnot, we have had an interesting
journey. And since then, you have 2 children. Now that record states are your own, correct? They're yours.
We're pretty sure they look like me, so I don't have to go to any lawyer after this.
Okay, that's a good thing. But so you have a wife, you got 2 kids. What's life been like in that respect? I mean, when you and I started this thing, it was kind of you and I and the world, and now you are a family man. So what's that like?
Well, I'll tell you, that journey was something like the Oregon Trail, honestly. It was, to put it lightly and mildly. But married life is great. You know, you got to just find someone you're compatible with. And having 2 kids it's definitely like a bubble. I mean, you go into this parenting bubble where all you kind of care about is these kids now, and they become your world. And basically for me, you know, my wife's a great mother. I'm turning into a good father, but at the beginning, I really didn't have a clue. I can't lie. I remember when the hospital released me and my wife with my son. He's a firstborn. I looked back and was like, "Is there like a late checkout? Because I don't know if I can handle this." But you know, you make it work, and if you find someone that you can make it work with, that's important. Your foundation, I can't stress that enough. If you don't have a strong foundation to begin with, that's really what you gotta aim for, because it gets so much harder once you add kids involved, and obviously time and patience and so much goes into it. So if you have a strong foundation, you know, you'll see it through. But the frustrations are still there. I mean, 2 kids it's not an easy trail.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, going through this and going through the Oregon Trail, and I stopped creating my name on the Oregon Trail because I would always like have dysentery and die in the middle of the river on the way across the way. So I got tired of that. You know, it was like Uncle Merle got shot in the leg, but he's gonna make it. Dan had dysentery and we left him in the river. You know what I mean? So like that's typically what happened and I was like, who gets to make these decisions and why am I not involved? But yeah, you know, I think that's a really good way to put it, is that the road that you and I have taken has been more like the Oregon Trail. But what has the Oregon Trail taught you?
Well, me personally, a lot of patience, and it's taught me a lot about myself. To be honest, I feel like it's important for someone to be alone for quite some time to really figure out who they are. I think that, honestly, if you want to find out what you're made of and what you can handle, it's important to do that on your own, because it'll tell you what you can and can't deal with. And then things that you can't deal with, you kind of just make yourself have to do it, because you don't have someone to kind of lean on or crutch on. So once you figure that out on your own, you're ready to kind of open yourself up to a relationship. And then you got to know what you want. You know, you really have to understand what you want and make sure that you have the same values, because that will get lost in translation for a little while in the honeymoon phase, but it will come right back. It only goes in hiding. It never goes away.
Yeah, sitting here with Joe Forgione this morning, a good friend of mine and also someone that spent a lot of time with broadcasting. I asked him to be my co-host for MU Courtside. I had a bunch of different co-hosts. I appreciate the people that, you know, lent their voice to the show, but I wanted someone who was consistent, and it's very hard in today's world to find somebody that, you know, can match your passion with stuff. And when it came to you, Joe, I took a chance on you, and there was a reason why I did it. And I know that I told you about this, but there was this one day when we were it was actually Regina Hall at Marywood University, and I had talked to you before, and we kind of knew each other, but we were rather strangers. We had talked a bit, but not to any huge extent, and this was a big ask that I was thinking about asking you. And I remember being there at Regina Hall, and I was sitting where they typically sit, like the check-in area and whatnot for the dorm hall, whatever you want to call it, the residence hall. Brandon Smith would kill me for calling it a dorm, so I'll call it a residence hall. And and so I just remember there was a girl. She had a cart. She was pushing her stuff, and one of the boxes fell off. And I was thinking, you know, I've got to talk to somebody. I got to figure out a co-host that I can have that's consistent. And I thought about you, and then you walked literally right in front of me. And the girl dropped her stuff, without any question or any thought in your mind, you bent down, you picked up her stuff, you gave it to her, made sure she was okay, and then you walked with her to make sure she had what she needed. And in that moment, I was like, that's the guy I want. Do you remember any of that? And do you remember when I asked you to be a part of it?
I remember when you asked me to be a part of it. That particular situation, I really vaguely remember. I kind of do.
Yeah.
In some, I mean, everything was crazy that day. That was kind of like moving day or close to moving day, and I remember a lot of emotions were high. You know, leaving the nest at home. I was in a different state, and I don't remember that, but I do remember when you asked me, and I do remember you explaining the story. And listen, that's just the way I was basically taught. That's the way I was raised. I guess it's a tip of the hat to my parents. Not saying that I'm the best person in the world, but I typically look out for others. That's just the way I am, the way I work. It's what makes me tick sometimes. I don't take pride in it to where I think that I need to be called out for it or recognized for it. It's just something I do. And if people see it and recognize it, great. If they don't, that's not the reason why. To where I think that I need to be called out for it or recognized for it. It's just something I do.
That's why, I asked you to be a part of the show. Then we embarked on this journey together. We said a lot on the air. We definitely didn't just talk about basketball. I've always been about where sports meets life, which is the tagline for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, you and I always found a way to have fun. I'm sure you remember this moment. There was a lady that came down from the bleachers, and she said, hey, guys, and it was like halftime or something. We were like, hey. And she's like, how are you? Is it good? She said, I just want to let you all know that I love the show. And, my daughter plays on the team, and obviously we know the outcome of the game, but we taped one of the shows, and we go back home and we watched it like 4 times. And we're going to keep watching it because you guys make us laugh, and you make it so much more than just a sports broadcast. You and I always set out to do that. I set out to do that every day. What did that moment mean to you, that somebody saw the difference, number one, and number two, that someone appreciated our interesting humor?
Well, you got to remember, I was fairly new to doing what you do so well, and to me, I remember that point. I remember that pretty well, and to be honest, it just felt nice to feel like we kind of made a difference, even if it was just for one viewer. But I know we did it for more. We ran into other people along the way, and more people said basically the same thing that she was expressing to us. But at that moment, I started thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe people don't mind hearing me talk. I'm an only child, and having someone tell you to talk more isn't really something that I was used to at that point. But I understood where she was coming from, and I knew that her family. I believed her. Put it this way: I didn't think that she was just saying it. I actually believed her because she knew more than we thought she would about us.
Yeah, and that was the thing, the people that took the time to take the time. You and I are both only children. What is the worst thing you've heard about being an only child? Because I know mine. I know what people typically said growing up. What's the first thing when you told someone you were an only child? What's the first thing they said? I already know the answer, but what'd they say?
That I'm spoiled.
Yeah, of course. They were like, we don't work, that we don't have a job.
Like, you get everything you want, and I'm like, if you want a peephole into my world, maybe that would change. I mean, listen, my parents are great parents. I have a great mother. I have a great father, hardworking father. My mother always looked after me in the best way she can. In my wife's eyes, she did an okay job raising me. No, she always says it. But as far as other things, I've had some tough lessons growing up. I mean, I got stuff, but I the way they make it sound spoiled means I do nothing.
Right. And
just the way that I've grown, I can tell you that that's just not the case. I'm sure some cases that's that's the epitome of an only child, and that's what people follow, and it is what it is, and that doesn't make them bad people. But I can tell you right now that once I meet people and I tell them, they ask, hey, everyone always thinks I have a brother or a sister, so they always say, like, oh, how old are your siblings? And I always say, I'm an only child. They're like, really? Your personality springs off that you're you have multiple siblings. And I'm like, no, I'm an only child. And then immediately they just go to, well, it must have been nice to have everything growing up. And I'm like, I don't understand. You know nothing about that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. My dad told me, he was like, if you want money, get a job. When I was 10, I had to mow lawns. And, at 14, I started working like an actual job. And, and then you just kind of earn your keep from there. And that's how it always was. That's what always happened. And that's how it had to be. And I was okay with that because, my parents taught me the value of a dollar. They taught me how to appreciate things that came my way and whatnot, and to, make the most of opportunities. So, it meant the world to me. And speaking of the opportunity, to go back to another time at Marywood, you and I got an interesting thing from an official. And typically officials are probably not fond of commentators, but during halftime of one of the games, you and I were sitting on the bleachers, and this one of the officials, I think it was like he was standing right at center court, and he came up and he goes, "Hey guys," and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm kind of looking at you like, "What's this guy gonna do? Is he gonna tell us that we said something on the air? Like, go a little bit easier on us? What's gonna happen?" And he said, "Hey," he goes, "I just want to let you guys know I'm a big fan of the show." And I remember us looking at each other going, "Did an official just say that?" You know what I mean? Like, that's so weird. And then he was like, "Yeah," he goes, "when I'm in downtown Scranton," he's like, "no offense to that 4-letter company, I won't say it, whatever, but he's like, no offense to them or anything like that, but he's like, we shut off their games." He's like, "I don't care if it's Georgetown or who it is or whatever." He's like, "We shut off those games and we turn on MU Courtside because with all due respect, we just appreciate good basketball and you guys are better at it than they are. You make us laugh. It's real." And so he's telling us that downtown, they're getting a kick out of it. And then he went to walk away, and he turned around and goes, "Hey, and just so you know, to build some context," he's like, "my buddies have been into basketball for 30, 40 years, 20 years, so we know what we're talking about." And I just remember thinking to myself, that moment, I want to be a fly on the wall when it's Duke, North Carolina, and the guy's going, hey, put on Joe and Danny, and let's get this crap off the television. That to me really was cool. That was a good moment.
I remember that too.
It's cool to have that, and you and I have had a lot of interesting times on the air. We've said some stuff. We were asked to be nicer to a team that I believe we were broadcasting one day, and the team lost by 40. They had scored 20 points. When I told you, I was like, "Joe, we gotta be a little bit nicer," and I remember you looking at me, looking at the court, and putting your hand up to the scoreboard and going, "Bro, look." And I was like, "I know," but I said, because we got asked to be nicer when the team was struggling because they got 2 phone calls. They're like, "Wow, these," I was like, we're being real. So I said, "Joe, I don't want to lie because I can't lie, and I have to be able to go to bed based off of how I did my job, what I did." And so I said to you, we have to do this in such a way where I said, why don't we take a negative and spin it to a positive instead of making a pile of poop look like steak. Let's just talk about how it is poop, but someday it could be steak, maybe, I don't know. And so I remember one day the score for one team was 20 points. And the other team was insane. And I remember you just widening your eyes and going, "Bro, just look at the score." And so I was like, "Yeah, Joe, but let's try to find a pot." I was like, "Don't lie." You're like, "I can't lie. I won't lie. I can't lie." I remember that. You're like, "I can't lie." I said, "I can't either. I don't want you to lie. But let's try to make it positive." And I remember that I leaned into the positive a lot quicker than you did. And and I remember at one point, you're like, "What am I supposed to say?" And then you go, "Okay, bro, you know what? You're fine." He's like, and you were like, "Danny, this game is way out of reach. The team's got 20 points. They're down by 47, but the spin on the ball was fantastic." And I just remember I go, "Spin on the ball." And if we go back to that video, I probably mouthed you "Spin on the ball? Are you kidding me?" And then I was like, I should be happy he's being positive, but I was like, it's like a mock. And then the guy comes out and I think Mark came out, kind of looked at us, and I was like, what do you want me to do? He's a loose cannon. I don't know. Like, this is Joe. So,
he's a loose cannon.
I was like, he's just firing everywhere. I was like,
anything at this point.
Yeah, I was like, when they talk about the field of battle and there's always one Black Hawk that goes down because it got shot by friendly fire, that's Joe. So I was like, but do you remember? I know you remember the spin on the ball comment.
Oh, I remember that clear as day because my sarcasm came out. I remember when I first came on the air with you, I was so nervous. I was terrified. I remember I didn't know if I could be myself. I didn't know if I was going to say something that you can't retract, because once it's out there, it's totally different. It's not like you can edit it. I was a big editor, and I was like, I don't know if people are going to even like my voice. They don't even have to look at my face, but they can hear me. They're going to hate me. I just remember thinking all of these things, and then when you told me, like, we were doing well, and then you said, hey, listen, we got to be more positive, and I remember thinking, that is going to be very tough, because out of everything else that I'm doing, I'm just trying to be real. And I remember thinking to myself, you got to come up with something, man, because you just can't keep saying what you're saying, apparently. So I remember it was a shot. I'll never forget it. It was a shot that didn't go in, and it hit the back. It hit the back of the backboard, and it didn't even hit the rim. And I just remember thinking, well, Dan, that didn't look great, but to be honest, the spin on the ball made it look a little bit better. And I just remember looking at you, and, like, your eyes were like, dude, what? And then you said, spin on the ball. And I'm like, I just remember thinking in my head, I got nothing else. So if you don't like spin on the ball, I'm out. I'm out of bullets. I got nothing else to say. You're going to do this by yourself, buddy.
Yeah, and it was funny because we were on radio and we were on video simultaneously on TV and radio. And I remember, and we went out to, like, substantial people. It's like 10,000 on the radio, 10,000 on video. And so you and I were talking, and there's times where you would just go silent, and you would just shake your head. And I'm like, Joe, you got to speak. And you're like, there's nothing to say.
I remember thinking when you told me that, and you're like, dude, Joe, you got to say something. I remember thinking, well, can't they see the game? Can't they see what's going on? Do I really have to explain this to them?
And I'm like, Joe, it's on the radio. And you're like, they know how I feel. Like, it was just...
I can feel it.
And I remember my spin to the positive in that game. And I looked at you, and I was like, well, Joe, they're down 60-20. And, this game, there's 13 minutes left. So, there's always a chance, because there is. There's always a chance that this could turn around. But if it doesn't, I think that they got to learn. And really at this point, they just got to dribble well. They got to pass the ball well. And I tried to find anything I could. I was like, even though they're down by 40, they can still seek to improve. And you just looked at me, and I was just like, what? I was like, I'm just telling you. I just remember thinking in my head, I'm like, well, they're down by 40. What are you going to say, Dan? And I was like, well, they're down by 40, but they can keep trying and keep working. I think we went to commercial, and you're like, you and I could do the same thing. And I was like, we would probably do it better, Joe.
I remember thinking as you were saying that, because I do remember you talking about dribbling. I just remember putting my head down and going, God bless his kind soul, because he is so much better at this than I am right now.
I just remember it's kind of like a ship was on fire, broken in half, and the Kraken was in the ocean. And then I was like, well, Joe, at least the flag's still up. It's like, that's kind of how I felt in that moment. But times got better, things got better, and if for nothing else, we, remained inappropriate, but in such a way that people had to think to get it. So it wasn't genuinely inappropriate. I think we had our moments, because I said stuff on the air, and you're like, bro, did you just say that? And I was like, I used to say something on the air, and I guess I can say it because not everybody knows it. It's not swearing. But I used to say when a team was really good, like in the case of Tom Brady, I was like, wow, Tom Brady's just like running a train on the NFL. And I said that on the air, and my one buddy, Don Bougie, he listened to it, and It was when I was on traditional radio, and he went, "Bro, I heard your show today." And I was like, "Cool, thanks." He goes, "Yeah, I have a question." I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." He was like, "You said run a train on the air." I was like, "Right." He said, "You didn't say it once." I go, "Okay." He goes, "You said it 3 times." He said, why are you allowed to say that and not get in trouble? I was like, "Well, I don't believe that my bosses listen to the show. I also don't think they know anything about sports, and I don't think that they know slang." So I was like, "I think I'm okay." And he goes, "I'm amazed by the fact that you could do it." And I go, "Well, Dom, listen tomorrow."
If you think I can get away with that today, tomorrow they give me a little bit more rope.
But that's the truth. But here at Joe Forgione, fellow Marywood University alum, my co-host for MU Courtside. Joe, what are your fondest moments thinking back then?
Honestly, if I'm going to be honest and not too sappy, is just how much I really looked up to you and you took me under, and you were a very important piece in my life overall, looking back, just because you made me face a fear that I never thought that I could overcome. And it wasn't so much of being on TV or being on the radio. It was a combination of being heard, being able to be who I am, and being accepted for who I am. Because let's be honest, and it's in this day and age, it's still relevant. Sometimes you're censored for the right reasons, and then sometimes you're not, and it's frustrating because you just want to kind of shake some people and say, I don't understand how you're not seeing what I'm seeing, and you're not always right, and I'm not always right, but some things are so obvious that you can't be fake about it. And the fact that I was able to be genuine and be myself was huge, because I kind of fell into a person that I want to become. And to this day, I mean, there's a lot of lessons that come along with that and come after that. But to start and to boot, I mean, you got to remember, I was in college. I was away from home. That's all I knew. I was younger. My thought process is not even close to as complicated as what it is right now. And I just simplified things. And I started to remember thinking that, I am who I am, and I don't have to be somebody else to try and appease somebody. And that's basically came from you, and it grew from that. But that's basically where it started. I'll tell you, it was a huge impact on my life, because I never in 1,000 years thought that I'd be able to do half the stuff that we did.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. I don't know what to say, to those words. I don't know how. I don't think it's my credit at all. I mean, I appreciate it. I thank you for that. But to me, it was. I remember trying to get you to do it, and I was like, "Joe, I want you for the whole season." And you're like, "The whole season?" And I was like, "Yeah."
I remember that. Yeah, I wanted a game.
Yeah.
I know one game. I'm like, I'll do one game. I'll just probably, piss my pants. No one will see it. It's under the table. No one will know about it. And that's it. It's over.
Yeah, and you were like...
And then you said, the whole season. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
And that was the thing. I was like, we got it. I said, I picked you. I was like, I picked you, and that's the person that I want. Like, it took me years to find anybody that I thought could build, true credibility and strength and continuity and consistency, positive consistency. And, I was used to doing the show by myself. And so to me, it was like, I have to find the right person. And I took a chance. And to be honest with you, like, kind of lump in the throat, jump in the river, hope you can swim. Like, out of my entire life of 35 years, one of the biggest chances I ever took was on you.
Right, yeah. You started something. And, I mean, if you think about it, you started something and you were doing it and you had to keep it going. And you didn't know me from basically a hole in the wall. I mean, you knew me just from my presence and a couple of talks here and there, but you didn't know me, and you didn't know where it was going to head, and you didn't know if, who knows, it could have went any direction. But the fact that I mean, that's scary for you in general, because you got to pick somebody. You don't want to do it by yourself, which is understandable, and you had to do what you had to do, and for you, that's a decision that you made. It was an executive decision, and I'm sure it was a tough one, because I'm sure there's other people in the running, and like I said, you weren't sure about it, but I mean, it's just amazing. That's just life in a nutshell, to be honest. I mean, you just take a chance, and honestly, you hope for the best. I know hope isn't a strong word, but sometimes it's all you got, and you just gotta just keep the course.
Well, and I would disagree with one thing. I think hope is a strong thing, and I put right over my shoulder here in the studio. People could see it right under the Wake Up Call logo. It says, "Hope makes the impossible possible." And I banked on you. You just said you probably had other people in the running. I wanted you to be a part of the show, so I put everything in you, and that was my thing. That was the card that I played. That's what I wanted. I was like, I'm getting Joe Forgione. That's it. And I remember that I had to wine and dine you, bring you to the cafeteria, swipe an extra meal. I had to sit there with you, and we had conversations. All right, I'm going to do it. And then it was like, Danny, I don't know. And then I'd see you, and let's talk about it. And, I'll do a couple games. I'll do one game. Let me figure it out. Maybe I'll do 3 games. And I was like, Joe, I need you for all of it. And then you did it. And then it was like, all right, what are we doing next year? And then 2 things happened in my life. So, to pay it back to you here, 2 things happened in my life after that. Number 1, when the Wolves came to my doorstep, and I didn't even know it, you guarded me. You protected me. You had a spear, you had a torch, and you fought them away. And you fought battles for me that I didn't even know were going on, because in the sick part of it all is not only was it wrong what people did, I was in the hospital when it was happening. But
I remember.
And you stuck up for me in a way that only family would, only a brother would. And that's, I can never forget and never repay, but I appreciate it more than I could tell you. And I'm thankful to God for that. And then the second thing was, we went from, Joe, can you do this? And you saying, I don't know, I could do a game, to when I graduated and had finished up, and it's a student-run thing, you took over. And so, I mean, not only did you protect my baby when I didn't even know it was being attacked, but you took care of it after I left. And I can never find the words nor the actions to thank you enough for protecting me, protecting what I love, protecting something that is near and dear to my heart, and then taking it over and trying to make it your own, and the passing of the torch. Because one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my career was let go of MU Courtside. And the only reason why I had to let go is because I graduated. And so, yeah, I can truly say that you've been part of some of the biggest moments in my life, and some of those big moments being, you're one of the only people that stuck their neck out ever to protect me in such a deep way. And then beyond that, you took care of the show when I was gone.
Well, I do remember that stage, and it was sad to see, because it was the flip side. I mean, it was almost like a movie. Everything goes so well. You think everyone's on board, and then you kind of find out in the shadows that there are evil people. And it's not to say that they're devilish, but the mindset of some people, it's terrifying to think that some thoughts cross through their mind and they think that it's okay. And for me, I remember being so young, and obviously what I expressed before about not knowing too much and learning what I knew basically from you. But I do remember being approached about certain things, and my gut saying, this just doesn't feel right. And the only reason why I was there was because of you, and then I was handling those battles without you. And I just remember thinking, I'm not going to fold, because I only know what I see. And if you're going to be this fake, my thing was this: if you're going to be that fake to somebody, and then you're going to want me to put my full trust in you, you're never going to get it. Because who's to say that in a couple weeks you're not going to do the same right back to me? And it also shows character. I mean, you're upfront with somebody, and then all of a sudden someone's down and out, and then you turn your back on them. That's just not me. And I knew that at a very young age. And if you talk to anybody that's known me for basically my entire life, weeks, you're not going to do the same right back to me. And it also shows character. I mean, I try and you're stay true to my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I tell you I'm not going to tell anybody because you trust in me, that's my word. And that's basically all I got.
Yeah, and it's funny that you end on that, because that's what Floyd Little said to me one of the first interactions I ever had. He said the most valuable thing that you own in this life is your word. If you have it, you have everything.
The only
if you
reason
don't
why I
have
was
it, you
there
have
was
nothing.
because of you, and then I was handling those battles without
and
you,
he made that statement. So, it's such an honor and it's such an awesome thing that we have had this and we've built this friendship. And I think the and it's been so much fun. I mean, you and I have saw each other through the I'm going to marry this girl, and then we look at each other now like, what was I thinking? So like,
absolutely.
We've been there. I think at one point, both of our girlfriends at the time had walked up to us at MU Courtside at halftime on the bleachers, and I thought in my head, in a totally platonic and like I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry way, I looked at you and I was like, we're better off getting married than being with these people. Like, I just remember going like, at least the house would be fun.
Yeah, listen, life's funny, and here we are, and you learn a bunch of lessons, and the important thing is to basically learn from them. I feel like a lot of people take that for granted, the lessons that you can learn. A lot of people just, it's true, you know, what people say, you keep your head down and keep plowing forward, that's true to an extent, but at some point you gotta pick your head up and look around and learn from either your mistakes or learn from things about other people, and swallow your pride, because pride's only gonna go so far. I mean, if you have too much of it, you're not going to really attract other people that you can learn from. Pride goes so far, man, and it can make you lose a lot of battles that you can learn from, and that's why I try not to shut out everybody when they try and give me a piece of advice. And you have to take a little bit from everybody. You don't have to turn into that person and mirror them, but if you can take one thing away from everybody, you know, you'll be a better person for it, not just for yourself, but for the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah, you know, and that's a great thing to say, because, you know, you are supposed to, they say you're supposed to take something good from every situation. You know, if you're in a friendship that goes sour, take something good. If you're in a relationship that goes sour, take something good. If you're in a job that goes sour, take something good. And what I realized, and you can appreciate this being a card-carrying Italian as well, is that every not great romantic relationship that I have had, all of these ladies that have come through my life, there's one common thing that they have all brought to my life despite not being a great relationship. And that was that they all either introduced me to a great restaurant or gave me a great recipe. So every girl that I've dated has brought me like better food to my life. And it's gotten to the point where it's laughable that like within a couple weeks, I looked at my mom and I go, well, she's gone. Wasn't right. But however, I do know how to make homemade pizza rolls now.
She probably call you and say, what are you having, Danny? You're going to have some peach cobbler and curl up with your girl? And you just say, no, Ma, it's just a peach cobbler tonight.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing that I was like, wow, if I look back on my life, like one girl I dated introduced me to Bojangles. That was great, you know,
wow.
and I got the homemade pizza, and I can go back to each relationship, Joe. I can go. You could be like, describe these 6 people you dated, and I'm like, okay, pork fried rice, pizza rolls, hummingbird cake. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing, is it's like I have this wheelhouse. It's almost like I'm Gordon Ramsay, and I'm kicking people out of the kitchen, but I'm like, leave the recipe. So.
Get out of my house, but leave that piece of paper that's in your hand right there. I'm going to need that later.
I'll never forget, and you can appreciate this, my last escapade, which you and I talked about very sparingly off the air and only about the key stuff. My last encounter was I came home to my house, and she was in my house. It's a funny joke. It's really crazy. I'll tell you off the air. I'll probably say it on the air at some point in my life, but I need the statute of limitations to pass. But I come home, she's in the house, and she goes, hey, I baked something for you. And I was like, but she was mad. Like, you can tell when a woman's like not okay. And
yeah.
So I come home and she gives me those eyes and those eyebrows, and I was like, oh my God. So, and I just seen my dad, and I had a good time, and I celebrated his birthday, and I came home, and she goes, I baked something for you, and she points to this little, this bread box thing, and I was like, oh, okay. And then she proceeded to get into like a massive fight with me. She took the bread, flipped it over, dropped it into aluminum foil, rolled it up, and left. And the reason why she got mad was because I shared the cake that I got for her and I brought it to my dad and let him have a piece. And so she got mad. How could I have cut the cake with my dad? I should have cut it with her. So this was the irony. She got mad that I got something for her and took it to my dad while she was taking the bread she made for me and taking it home. And she took it in my aluminum foil, and she used my bananas and my ingredients. So I was like, with all due respect, that was my bread, no matter how mad you are. But I can honestly tell you, in 35 years, I've never seen a woman fight with me. And she's like, you know what? All right, fine. Flips the thing over, and the bread's like dunk, and then she just flips. And I've never seen a woman wrap up bread while I was getting yelled at. So it was a new one for me. I was like, well, I guess I'll never get that. And I thought to myself, I wanted to say something, but she was the type of person, if you said something, she'd come right back and say a lot of negative stuff. I wanted to go, with all due respect, did you use my bananas?
Because I was going to make my own bread with those bananas. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but seeing a woman flip over like a giant curb cake, like a heavy brick of bread, seeing her flip that over in the middle of an argument, that was something special. I don't think I hope I never see that again.
You'll never get out of your head either. And you probably don't look at bread the same way.
Yeah, I was like, that bread's life to me was very short-lived. And
sounds it.
And I used to just when she left, because she would leave the house all the time. This was like a few weeks, Joe. This was a little craziness, and she would leave the house all the time. But when she left, I just throw stuff out. So if she came over and she brought her vegetable oil, went in the trash. You know what I mean? So, but my bread, I just remember going, but it depended on what it was. If she left spicier nacho cheese chips, then I ate those while I threw out the vegetable oil. I pick and chose what I did.
Well, at least you had a heart while you were doing it.
Yeah, I was like, I was just like, I can't throw it. I'm just throwing everything out, and I'm going, well, I can't throw out a Half Moon cookie. I mean, that's, I'm not a monster. So
that's something you'll never forget, and see, that'll stick with you, and it'll believe it or not, it's making you a better person.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, it's if dating crazy makes me a better person, then I should be like Gandhi at this point.
Hey, listen, everyone needs some crazy every now and then, just to give them a good little check down,
Well, I'm willing to share. I'm more than willing to share. I think I've licked the socket in the kitchen a few too many times. So I think I'm done. I'm sure my mom will have some thoughts on the. I was like, in order to see sparks, sometimes I just lick the socket in the kitchen. So, you know what I mean? So I didn't necessarily feel them, so I went and searched for them. But yeah, I look forward to the day that I can call you about a wedding where, I don't send you an emergency beeper alert. By the way, I think you and I should both get a beeper or long-range walkie-talkies so that because we interact in a way that's different, and you have a part of my you have a part of my heart, you have a part of my life as a friend and as extended family to me, where I feel like the way the world communicates, we should have a separate way. And I would love to just I don't know, I think it'd be cool to have long range walkies where we're everybody, people are talking with us, texting with us in front of us face to face, and then we just have a code that we send to each other. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, well, hopefully nobody breaks that code, because it'd be like, what'd this guy say?
Be like, don't worry about it. He said something about trains. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's fine. No one listens anyways. It's not a big deal.
But yeah, I remember that day I said it, and I peeked outside the studio, and I didn't see my boss get out of his chair, and I was like, well, obviously he wasn't listening this morning per always, or he has no idea what I'm talking about. So, but I do appreciate, you being a part of the show today and celebrating Marywood, celebrating, what we work to do, and celebrating our friendship more than anything else. This is a special thing that we get to do, and we get to connect in this way. And I know we talk about it, but we already have a name for it, and I'm working out a logo and different things I'm looking to do. I think, Joe, I'm going to ask you for a second time, and I'm hoping lightning strikes twice, but I think I'm going to need you to follow through with me on that thing we talked about.
Maybe I'll do one or two, You get me for one or two shows.
The difference between then and now is that there's me and there's also Crystal. So, and I know that woman loves me already. So, I will do what I can to make sure.
She loves you. She loves you so much. She returned my microphone that I was going to use on air with you.
Yeah, I love that. Joe, I thought that Amazon just gave us a free microphone for the order, and we didn't need it, so I sent it back.
Yeah. She opened the box and she goes, "Oh, I didn't order that. I'm sending it back." She printed out a label, shipped it back, and I said, after 3 days, I said, Amazon promised a 2-day delivery. It's been like 6, and Dan really needs me to have this microphone. And she goes, "You ordered a microphone?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Yeah, I sent that back." And I'm like, "What?" And then she spoke for you, and she goes, "It's okay. Dan won't mind." What?
Yeah, and
Dan will absolutely mind, and now I got to order another one.
Yeah, that was and I remember you telling me that. You going, "Dan, don't worry about it. Crystal said that you said it would be okay."
I'm like, she's talking for everybody. She's returning my item, and she's speaking for someone that she did not talk to about this at all. I'm certain about it. That she 100% didn't say, "Hey, can I return this?" without talking to Joe.
And the great thing about it is she spoke for us while taking away our ability to speak on a microphone.
Yep, that's right.
That's a strong woman. The only woman that could end up with you is a woman that could dish it just as well, if not better. And I feel like she brings that. I feel like if you were doing stand up versus her, she would stand up battle you to round 10. So I mean, I just I have respect for Crystal, because I feel like she keeps you on your toes.
She absolutely does, and that's about 50% of the reason why I married her, because she. And the other 50% is because of her bread recipe.
And because she doesn't pack it when she gets mad.
She doesn't flip it over.
Yeah, dude, I've never heard something hit the top of my stove so hard. But I was like, so that's what bread sounds like during an argument.
If I heard bread hit the stove, I would say, "You may have left that in a little too long, lady." But I'm not. Who am I to tell you how long you cook it for?
There's a lot of things that went through my mind that I couldn't say in the moment. But I was like, if bread hits a stove in a kitchen, are you still crazy? I was like, I can't.
I hear it.
Yeah, if bread hits the stove and I hear it, are you still crazy, and are we still talking about this? But luckily, I'm safe, so I can blink my eyes twice and let people know that I'm okay. But I think I might need you to do a season. I know you promised me a show or two, but you better answer your phone later today when I talk to you.
Yeah, I'll be here. You can call me. We could do a season. That'll be good.
All right, brother. Well, listen, I love you, and my love to your family, to the kids, and to Miss Crystal, and your parents and everybody, and I hope that's into hers, and I hope you guys stay safe and you're doing well. I'll talk to you later today, but it was good doing exactly what we always do, which is really not genuinely always talk about sports, but we make people laugh, we talk about life, and we have a good time with it. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as the spin on the ball's there and we're within 40, we got a chance.
And if you could dribble it, I'll be there.
All right, brother. Well, listen, take care of yourself, and I look forward to talking with you soon. But thank you for spending some time with me here this morning, reminiscing, and your words that you said to me, I genuinely will never forget. So thank you for that.
No problem, Danny. Anytime. I'll talk to you soon, man. I love you too.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you.
Later, bro.
See ya. That coming from Joe Forgione this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Having a good time here where sports truly meets that thing called life. And inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, you see Marywood hanging right over me here today. And I want to thank Joe for being a part of it. You know, when we get together, I never know what's going to happen. But it just felt right today to have a genuine conversation with a friend, with a family member, with somebody I trust, with somebody that has supported me in the dark, behind closed doors, when I don't even know. You know, that is the definition of a true friend. Somebody who's there when you don't even know that they are. So, you know, and I think Rob Drummond, one of my other close friends, he put it very well. He said, if you're not willing to defend me, and it was such a beautiful thing that Rob said. He said, if you're not willing to defend me behind my back, when things happen behind my back, like basically don't be my friend in my front. And I have so much respect for Rob, and he's one of my closest friends, but there's something beautiful in that. You know, Rob was like, I don't want a friend who's just, he's like, I want a friend who defends me when I'm not around. It's like, I want a friend who has my back when I'm not even there and I don't even know about it. And that is Joe. Joe did that. He is one of the moments in 35 years where I know for a fact that someone defended me as a person because I wasn't treated like it, me as a professional because I wasn't treated like it, and treated me with respect. He fought for me. And there's no better friendship than somebody who fights battles for you when you don't even know that they're going on, let alone fights them at all. Because they could simply just say it's not my battle. So I respect Joe more than I can say, and I appreciate him very much. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will continue as we spin closer to my sit-down with Aaron Hackett that you cannot afford to miss. The 4-year tight end for Syracuse is now going on to TCU in the Big 12, and he's got a story to tell in just a few minutes here. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. it's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, 2 places where you're listening, you're watching on Facebook Live, on facebook.com/live-now-DT, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So plenty of places to connect with the show, and so I hope you're doing so. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic, fantastic week, and just making the most that you could possibly make out of all of it. I really do genuinely appreciate you all for being here and for spending time with us. And it is an amazing thing to be able to wake up every day and get to do what you love. So I send my love to everybody that's out there. And, whatever prayer you need, you know what? It's a new week, so let's say a quick one, all right? And I know people have different religions and different things and whatever, but as I respect you, please respect mine. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I want to pray that everybody has a great week. I want to pray that we're safe, healthy, happy, that we have all of your most precious gifts with us, and that we do your will and be well. I hope that whether we're traveling, staying put, or both, that we're safe and sound, and that we have a great week and day, we're really day by day, so we have a great day and a great week and so on, that are long and fun and go by slowly in a positive way, that we appreciate the time that we have, that we're always with our loved ones, even those that have passed on, and that we heal completely and for good and no matter what through you and handle well whatever comes our way. I hope that whatever intentions that we have this week, whatever's weighing down our heart and our mind, our body, or our soul is lifted, and that you help us to see things clearly, make good decisions that help us to ultimately follow your path back home to the kingdom. In Jesus' most precious name. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. So, I just wanted to do that because, you never know who needs a prayer. You never know who needs some help. And it means a lot to me to do what we can to try and help those people that will tell you their prayers, tell you their wants and their needs and their hopes, and then there's people that don't. So to me, I want to do what I can to be there for those that I need to be there for, that I know need me, and for those that you don't know need you, that, you pray for them and try to be there. So it really does mean a lot to me to do, what we can to try and help where we can. So appreciate you being here. Appreciate you hanging out with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Listen, folks, Cafe Kubal is right here in our community. If you like coffee, if you like tea, if you like great food, if you like great places and different atmospheres to sit, the great thing about Cafe Kubal is every single one of them is different, and every single one of them has their own style, and it's almost like each Cafe Kubal is an artistic masterpiece. It's an interpretation of art at every Cafe Kubal you go to, in their food, in their drinks, and in how they look. And it really is something special and unique. And their artwork that you have as a drink, that you have as food, and that you see all around you is a beautiful thing that comes from the mind that starts with the team that has Matt Goddard at the top. So I want to thank Cafe Kubal for all of their locations and for everything that they do in our community, and for being local, and for navigating through this pandemic with us. And because that's all you can do is navigate through it, right? You can't complain about it. It's not going to get you anywhere. Can't worry about it. It's not going to get you anywhere. But you can work through it, which is exactly what they did. So make sure you go to their locations today and grab yourself something. I'm going to go get a chai today. But make sure you go to any of their locations, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street and 208 North Townsend Street. Any one of those is in Syracuse, as well as you can obviously go find them in Manlius as well on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. So make sure that you do that and just show some love to a local company whose artwork is, all around you and in what you take with you. It's, there's something to be said about like the good feeling you get when you just walk into a place, grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever it may be, and you just walk out with it in your hand and you feel like it's part of your day. I never knew if I would be that person, where I would go to a place and grab something because it's my favorite and I could drink it every day and it's like part of my routine, and that's what Cafe Kubal has become. And so I hope that they do that for you too, and if they haven't yet, I think you should give them a chance to start. So I really do appreciate them and thank them for all that they do, and I thank you for all that you do to support local and support our community in general. We have so many beautiful partners here in the community. And even though, some of these names like a Carvel DeWitt and a Chick-fil-A Cicero and a Honda City of Liverpool, that those names are internationally known, they're still very, very local. Honda City of Liverpool, the way that they treat us is second to none. That's why I get my cars there all the time, because I feel like the price is reasonable and I also feel like the care is there. And my relationship with them has only gotten better. So, I think that means something. You always want to be in relationships that trend upward, not downward, and you don't want them to stay stagnant. So I give them credit for what they do. Carvel DeWitt's my longest standing partner. Jay Cartini is the first person that believed in my business model, my business idea. He believed in a man with an idea, and I will never forget that, and I respect that. Carvel is extremely local. The way that they do things at Carvel DeWitt is so special. And I can only speak for Carvel DeWitt. And I've also, worked with the corporate company in Atlanta. And I love the company. The Carvel ice cream cakes are, in pictures throughout history of big moments with my family and birthdays and anniversaries and whatnot. So I have nothing but respect for Carvel as a company. And I have tremendous respect and am very devoted to Carvel DeWitt, my longest standing partner, who has been with me for over a decade. And then Chick-fil-A Cicero. I don't hide my faith, and they don't either. And their positivity and their welcome, open arms to everybody is very important to me. And I can only speak for Chick-fil-A Cicero, and I'm honored to work with someone like Jim Ursakowski, who puts his morals and his values forward, his faith forward. And, I'll never forget somebody who looks me in the eye when I leave and goes, "Hey, God bless you." And it's not because I sneezed. It's because he genuinely wants that to happen. And I appreciate it and I respect that. And it means the world to me that he's unafraid to talk about God. It also means the world to me that, he's such a good person and that he leads that way. And when he says, "God bless you," there's people that speak and there's people that speak with purposeful tongue. And he's one of those people. And I love that. Cafe Kubal, I told you about. Avicoli's, we get to do our Liverpool show there. They're incredible. Millhouse Market is worth the drive. They're out in Pulaski. Some of you live in Pulaski that listen to the show. Some of you are driving 30 miles to get there. And I promise you it's worth it. Rebecca takes no credit. She stays behind the scenes, and she's one of the most incredible creators when you talk about artwork that I've ever met in my entire life. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. I don't trust anybody with Lily, but I trust them. Pizza Man, we get to do our Baldwinsville show there, and we just started that. That's been incredible. The Wildcat, we have done Syracuse Football live shows there, Syracuse Basketball live shows there. I've helped there with their golf tournament and the after party. We do our West Genesee show there. That's who started with me when it came to, doing the local high school shows in the area. Wildcat's one of those places. Danny Tome believed in me way, way back. And I appreciate it tremendously, and I respect him. And I genuinely appreciate being in his corner, and he's in mine. So I have nothing but love for that. Our fantasy football's all there. And then Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. What can I say? They make every day feel like you're at a circus. They make every day feel like, you're at an amusement park. You're having fun. If it's snowing outside, they're happy, they're excited, and it's warm and bright in there. If it's sunny outside, then they're happy and excited, and it's warm and bright in there. You know, Ma and Pa's is a place where you could genuinely go for a pick-me-up, and I love it, I respect it, I appreciate it, and it's incredible, and it really genuinely does mean the world to me. So I want to shout them out as well. And if you order from them, you can get 20% off on me. If you go to maandpaspopcorn.com and use the promo code DT20, you get 20% off just because you utilized the code. So make sure that you do that. So a lot of great stuff from a lot of great places in the community. And I just wanted to say thank you as we start off the week. So with that being said, I'm going to take a step aside for a fast break. When I come back, Aaron Hackett joins the show. Aaron Hackett's got a story to tell, and I'm very honored that we get to tell it. I spoke with him, I can't believe it was 5 years ago, but I spoke with him all the way back when he was getting recruited, at least 5 years ago, in Venice, Florida, from Venice High School. From Venice to Syracuse, he played 4 seasons, and with the pandemic, one of the positives that came out of it, because yes, there is positives that come out of everything, you got to be glass half full always, even when it's hardest to be. And Aaron Hackett's glass half full got an extra season of eligibility with the rest of college football players, and he's taking it, and he's going to play an actual 5th year, not be a 5th-year senior, but play 5 years, which was unheard of before last year. It was never available. Well, it is now, and he has the free year to play, and he's going to TCU. So he's going to tell his story, and to the Syracuse fans that are sad that he left, you really should listen to it and hear his words, because he's got nothing but good things to say about Syracuse. We will hear from him right after this fast break. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening to internet live radio all throughout the world on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course on wakeupcalldt.com, as I said, where the MixLR feed is embedded. You're also watching and listening on facebook.com/livenowdt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt as well. With that being stated, I am very excited this morning to have somebody that is no stranger to the broadcast back on the show to talk about his new chapter. Aaron Hackett, who came to Syracuse out of Venice in Florida, came up to Syracuse, played tight end for the Orange, and had the opportunity to play another year, and he decided to hop into the transfer portal and find his way over to the TCU Horned Frogs to continue his collegiate career on the field. And we now bring him in for the first time ever as a member of TCU. So let's bring him in here. Aaron, how are we doing today?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I was talking to you off the air a little bit about it. Like, how strange is it for you? Is it as strange for you as it is for me that, you know, I remember talking to you coming out of Venice and trying to figure out where you were going to go. We did, you know, a special about, you know, your recruitment. I mean, I was talking to you on the recruiting trail, and now I'm talking to you after finishing up your time at Syracuse, and you got another year to give to go over to TCU. I mean, is it surreal and strange for you that as many years have passed since the first time we spoke?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely wild. If you would have asked me, you know, after our season in 2019, you know, where I would be in 2021, I think one of my last answers would be Fort Worth, Texas. So, you know, obviously it's been a crazy year just outside of the world, but blessed with an opportunity to kind of have it. They gave us this extra year, and so, the time has really flown by.
What can you say about the NCAA's decision in this pandemic to essentially say to the players, you know, hey, if you're going to play this season, it's almost a free year. We're going to grant you another year of eligibility. What did it mean to you that you had, you know, an extra year, that if you did decide to play, which you did, that you were still going to have a year after all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a fair deal. Look, especially a guy like me who suffered an injury in early April and was kind of on the fence of, you know, whether I was going to redshirt, whether I was going to play this year. And, you know, the NCAA giving us that opportunity, obviously a bunch of different schools, everyone's going through different things. And it was so unpredictable what region of the country you're in, you know, how heavy is the pandemic stricken, where you were at. So I think that the NCAA hit it right this time by giving everyone an extra year of eligibility. So yeah, I mean, I'm thankful they did it.
Yeah, you know, and having that, Aaron, having the opportunity, I mean, did it help you play more freely, you know, this year, knowing that you had kind of a year in your back pocket? I mean, was it in the back of your mind?
I wouldn't say play more freely. I would say that it gave me the opportunity to kind of come back from injury and feel more comfortable like that. I wouldn't say I rushed back, but I definitely came back within a certain time frame that was sooner than expected, and that kind of gave me that confidence in terms of, okay, I know I can play and go out there and enjoy the season with my teammates, and whatever happens, I still have that extra year in my back pocket, kind of as security.
Did you think in your head that you would be somewhere else in the extra year? I mean, did you know before the 2020 season started that you were going to take advantage of the extra year? Did you already know before the season started that you had every intention of using the extra year?
I wouldn't say, you know, every intention of going somewhere else. I knew that kind of coming back with the injury that I had and the time that it takes to rehab, that it was going to be tough for me to, you know, be NFL ready by the end of 2020 in terms of just size and weight, going through what I went through with the pec tear. So that was one thing. You know, I wasn't sure where the season was going to take me. And, you know, at that point of the year, I was really just focused on, hey, can I get back for the first week against North Carolina? And that's really where my focus was the whole year. And then every week after that, you know, what can I do to help us win? What can I do to help the team operate better?
Speaking here with Aaron Hackett, who came to play tight end at Syracuse the last few seasons and is now moving on to TCU. Aaron, for you, when you look back and we talk about hindsight 2020, the year 2020 is in our hindsight now, but the actual statement itself we've used for centuries. You know, hindsight 2020. For looking back at your time at Syracuse, was it the right decision for you ultimately? What can you say about now looking back on being a young kid out of Venice High School in Venice, Florida, choosing Syracuse?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I have no regrets about choosing to come to Syracuse. Like you said, I came to Syracuse as a young man, 18 years old, and now I'm leaving, and the maturity and the lessons I've learned, the friendships and the bonds I've made with everybody. I'm extremely grateful for my time there. I'll always bleed orange, in the bottom of my heart. Syracuse University, that's with me for life, and I'll be a proud alumni. I'm just still very thankful to this day for the opportunity Coach Babers gave me and Coach Free gave me. We obviously, there's been some ups and downs, but there's been some really great moments on and off the field that, I'm just really thankful for. And, got to play in some really exciting games. Had a chance in 2018 to go down and play in the Campbell World Bowl in front of all my family and friends and beat a good West Virginia team, which I'll never forget. So I'm just extremely grateful for the opportunity. And, all the lessons I learned, all the coaches there, they treated me fairly. Like they said, Familia Ohana, Coach Babers truly treated me like a family member, and I'm forever appreciative of that.
And to go back to the fact that you got to be in a bowl game, and not just any bowl game, but you got to see Syracuse's resurgence back to a bowl. It had been a few seasons since it had happened. It was a year where Syracuse had done a lot of things they hadn't done in a decade, 2 decades, and whatnot. Being a part of that team in 2018, they got to finish up in the Camping World Bowl in Orlando, Florida, in your home state. Bring me into that moment for you when you stood on the field and you looked up at the crowd and you looked around the stadium. What did that feel like? Because it's one thing to go to a bowl game. It's one thing to be a team that's, is playing in the postseason. But it's another thing for you to return back home to your state, just what that meant to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would say that was one of the biggest moments I've had in football, That was one of the first games where I had multiple receptions and I was kind of involved in the offense a lot more. And, one of the best moments I'll always remember, I tell people this story, is, after we won that game, Sean Riley, our kick returner wide receiver, hopped on the stage, started giving a little speech. And, it was really that my dad somehow snuck onto the field, so we were all, the confetti's going everywhere. I saw my father. It was a perfect moment, and that whole experience was super fun. It was a great game. The seniors who played on that team, I'm forever thankful for. Just the leadership and the role they've brought into my life, and that was a great moment for me and for Syracuse football.
What did Sean Riley, a friend of mine as well, what did he say when he jumped up and had a speech?
I think it's somewhere on YouTube. It was half speech, half invitation to Coach Babers, but it was hilarious. He grabbed the microphone. That was right after we had won. They had the T-shirts out there for us, the newspaper saying that we won it. It was awesome.
And when you go back, to that moment, you're playing in front of your family, you're getting multiple receptions, you win the game. What were the first, when the game ended, I want to live vicariously through you. When you looked up off the field at the sky when the game ended, what was your first thought in your mind?
Man, I was just overcome with joy, especially that had been a long year. Like I said, kind of one of the first games where I really had an opportunity to show myself, improve myself, on the field as well, and just taking it all in, and realizing that moment was there, and enjoying the moment, and celebrating with my teammates. Some of them, the last time they'll ever put football pads on, and I feel like for a lot of them that was a great way to go out. So.
Speaking here with Aaron Hackett, coming from Syracuse over to TCU. We'll talk about the decision on TCU in a second here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Aaron, for you in that game, Eric Dungy, I don't know if you know this because I don't know where you were when it happened, but I actually have the Dungy picture from the paper. My dad framed it for he gave it to me. I got it and I put it in a frame here, and it's in my studio because they jokingly say I'm the person that made Dungy cry. Now, I'm the one that asked him the question about not just that game, but the 4 years, the adversity, the injuries, everything that people had said about him, just what it meant to him to sit there with his brothers that night. And that was the question where he got very emotional and very worked up. What can you say about your quarterback, Eric Dungy, that when you came into Syracuse, he was your guy for the first couple seasons? What can you say about who he was, who he is, and how much he means to you? And then kind of secondly, if the NFL is missing their mark on him and in the fact that they have not given him a chance yet.
Yeah, so, when I came in as a true freshman, that was when Dungy, he was a junior already, and just, you could tell the leadership he already had and the grasp he had over the team. And, being kind of a younger guy in the system, you just kind of want to fall in line and you know what I mean, do whatever you can to help the team, do whatever you can to impress the quarterback. One thing I always remember about Dungy that stuck with me is just the toughness and grit that kid brought. And, you want a true definition of a competitor. That was him. He was fun to play with. You heard him talking to the other team. He was fired up anytime he made a play. He had let someone know about it, and he was a great leader and a great quarterback and a guy who was super fun to play with for the first 2 years. So obviously a Syracuse legend he'll go down as, and like I said, he's a great competitor. You never want to count any of those guys out, especially at the NFL level. I know he's had a little bit of opportunity. I'm not sure if he's still pursuing it or not, but everything I saw from my 2 years would make me say that he's a great competitor. He's a super tough kid, and there's a spot on every football team for a guy like that.
There's a spot on every football team for a guy like that. No better quote to say about Eric Dungy. As somebody in the offense with him, as one of his skill position guys, what did it mean to you? How did it fire you up when, they would hit him, they would say something to him, they try to knock him down, and then he would go over and push somebody himself or, hit somebody himself? He, usually as a quarterback, you want to stay clean, you want to stay upright, you don't want to get involved in much of anything. This man is a dog, and he would come at some of those defenders like a linebacker, and if they were treating him a certain way, he'd let them have it. What did that mean to you, and did it fire you up to see your quarterback getting in people's faces and knocking them down when they tried to mess with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we got a little worried because, Dungy, he wants to go run everyone over and jump over everyone and make the Superman plays. And, as a guy, especially a guy on offense, you feed off your quarterback. And, he's made some outlandish plays for the time I was at Syracuse. I remember as a true freshman, we went down to Miami, and, he had a couple really crazy plays, but I'll never forget. It was one where I think he had thrown an interception or the ball had gotten tipped, and some big D lineman on Miami got it, and everyone's standing him up. He's kind of in the pile, and Dungy runs in there and rips the thing back out and gets the ball for the offense. And I'm thinking, wow, man, I ain't never seen a quarterback make a play like that. That took some true grit. And so, that's one of the plays that always stick with me with Dungy. It's just like I said, he's the ultimate competitor. It's never over for him, and I think that play summed it up pretty well.
And for you as a skill position guy at tight end, you've only, had the ball thrown to you from 300 different quarterbacks at Syracuse. You have had Eric Dungy, you had Tommy DeVito, you had Rex Culpepper, you had Jacoby and Morgan. How did you navigate through all of that, and what did it teach you to have so many different quarterbacks with different skill sets throwing you the ball?
Yeah, I think especially in college, you develop a relationship with all the guys in your roster, and whether they're a freshman or they're a fifth-year senior, you know what I mean. By the time you get done with fall camp, those guys are all like brothers to you. You guys have all bled and sweat and been through hours and hours of meetings together, and so you definitely develop that relationship. Like I said, when I was a freshman, I came in. Dungy was already kind of an upperclassman. He was that guy. I came in with Tommy DeVito, and DeVito's our starting quarterback, so I developed a great relationship with him, and then kind of got to see it from the other role. Unfortunately, when Tommy went down this year and Jacobian stepped in, and just trying to be a good mentor to him, because I remember being, obviously not as a quarterback, but I remember being a true freshman, kind of getting thrown into the fire a little bit when we were playing Clemson. And I know how it is, and the biggest thing you're worried about is not making a mistake. And I think Jacobian came in this year. The kid's got incredible poise. He handled it with grace, and he did a really good job leading that offense. I mean, here's an 18-year-old kid who's telling us guys who are 21, 22, who've been there for 4 years, come on, we need this drive. Let's go get it done. And I would say the same thing about DeVito too. He was a great leader, and had a really good control of the locker room and the huddle whenever he was in there. And all those guys are extremely hard workers. You would catch Rex Culpepper in the weight room up there at any hour of the day, and that kid, he's extremely dedicated to what he does and what he loves to do. And all of them brought great attitudes out to the practice field every single day. So I'm thankful I got to play with every single one of those guys.
Speaking here with Aaron Hackett of Syracuse Orange football history, moving on to TCU and the Horned Frogs. Aaron, you just brought up Rex. He was a quarterback, then he got moved to tight end. He was put all over the fields, and kind of just work him in where they wanted to. What can you say about Rex and what he was willing to do just to be out there and support the team? And then secondly, what you can say about his journey of having a teammate go through cancer treatment and find his way back onto the field to become a starter and to get Syracuse their first touchdown of the 2020 season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just another extremely tough kid. I've known Rex going all the way back to high school. Our high schools, actually, we joked about it a lot. Venice High School and where he went, Plant, were two pretty big rivals. I mean, I would say the two premier football teams in Southwest Florida in terms of our coast. And so, I've known Rex for a long time. Again, another kid who's just willing to do anything to make the team better. When I was a true freshman, that was before they passed the redshirt rule where you could play 4 games and still redshirt. So I got thrown into the mix early, and still hadn't really found my role, and was doing anything I could to get on the field, whatever, special teams, short yardage, goal line, all that situations. And I remember trying to battle it out with Rex just to get the up back spot on kickoff return, because he felt like he didn't want to just sit on the sidelines. Yeah, he was a quarterback, and most quarterbacks, they're the backup quarterback. They're fine with just holding the clipboard. But he said, no, I don't want to do that. Coach, I can play on kickoff return. I can play on punt return, all that stuff. And I remember battling it out with Rex my freshman year, trying to do whatever I could to get that kickoff return spot. And then towards the end of the year, he came in the game and he played really well. I remember one of our last games at Wake Forest in Boston College. He came in for Mahoney. He must have thrown 200 or 300 yards, had a couple touchdown passes, and was slinging the ball around. And just a guy who comes from a great family. You could tell he like his morals are in the right place. And another great teammate. That guy, super hard working. Like I said, he's a beast in the weight room. He's pound for pound might be the strongest guy on our roster last year. And great kid, and I'm happy that I was able to develop that relationship with Rex when I got up there. And to see him come in Pitt this year and throw that deep touchdown to Taj, that was awesome. Running down the field and just seeing the joy and the excitement in his face after everything he's been through. Just a true warrior, and wherever it ends up in life, that kid's going to do great things. So.
Coming from Aaron Hackett here on Rex Culpepper, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Aaron, you have played in the last 3 seasons. You played in every game. You had 13 games in 2018, 12 in 2019. Coming back from an injury, like you said, in April, and you were able to play all 11 games in 2020. What can you tell me about, what you've been able to do and the consistency and how important that is for TCU to see, for NFL teams to see, that you have fought back from injury and you've gotten yourself on the field and you've played in every single game for the last 3 years?
Yeah, I think I hope people who are looking back on it just see how much I love the game of football and how much I'm kind of willing to sacrifice my body for my brothers out there on the field. Obviously, I had a injury before the season this year, but then when we were playing Louisville away this year, I took a shot early in the second quarter, right before I attempted the field, one of those pooch kicks, and ended up having to get sent to the hospital and get a CT scan on my spleen, and my ribs were deeply bruised. You know what I mean? And I just hope that when people look back on me and my career, they just say, that kid, he loved football and he was tough and he played through everything. And that's really what I tried to do. I've been banged up, battered, and bruised. There was probably opportunities where it might have been better for my career if I would have said, hey, maybe I'll just sit out this year. Maybe I'll fully rehab until 6 games in the season. But, I love the game. And earlier in camp in 2020, I was in a non-contact jersey. And, I mean, if you want to ask anybody, you could ask Reno Farid, our tight end coach. It just drove me crazy every day. I was just trying to do more than I was allowed to, because I wanted to get back and play. So, I hope teams at the next level see that when I'm healthy, I can do things in all 3 phases of the game. I can block inline, I can pass protect, and I can be a receiving threat. And I love the game, and I try to do things the right way and carry about myself in the right way. I'm a firm believer that especially a guy like me, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get half the results compared to a lot of people. So, I try to take that in everything I do, and just fortunate to have a good career at Syracuse. Came in, I don't know, whatever I was, 2-star, 3-star in rivals, didn't matter to me, and was able to walk out of there with, tied for the most career touchdown receptions, and that's a lot of people in my circle who helped me develop, and a lot of hours in the gym just spent grinding and working my tail off. So I'm thankful.
And we look at that and what you were able to do. And like you said, 9 touchdowns that you had in your career. You had 6 in 2019. You had a couple in 2020 and your first one in 2018. When you look back on, I mean, you and Luke Benson looked like this tandem, this force to be reckoned with. And, I grew up in Syracuse, born and raised in Syracuse, and I've been watching, the team here forever and a day. And Nick Provo, to me, who played with Ryan Nassib, he was like the last really good tight end that Syracuse had. As far as I shouldn't say the last really good, the last time they really targeted the tight end is probably a better way to say it. And so Provo was like the last guy they really genuinely went to. And then when you came in, I was like, okay, they're starting to go to Aaron. And when Benson came in, there's this tandem. I think that you guys were, at least in my opinion, when the ball went your way, more than 50% of the time you were catching that ball, 70%, 80%, 90%. You were making plays happen. Luke over the middle, you over the middle, the trick plays, different things you did. You were electric in the end zone. You were electric when they went after you. My frustration is it's been forever between Nick Provo and you guys, and now we got you guys here, and I just felt like you were so underutilized in 2020. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? It just felt like you and Benson were like clockwork. It was just like automatic, and then all of a sudden it was like, why aren't they getting the ball in week 1, week 2, week 5? What's going on? Because you and Luke just seem to know what you're doing, and in my opinion, you seem to be the 2 best tight ends that we've had since Nick Provo in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously I'm not going to lie to you, there was frustrations for me in that aspect of it too, coming from 2019 where, if you look at combines, tight end rooms in the ACC, no one scored more touchdowns than me and Luke Benson combined, no other 2 tight ends. And so to kind of come from that year and all the potential that was there and seeing Luke develop into turning into a great player. And I really thought this was going to be his, a chance for him to break out this year and then use him in the right way and get him the ball in space. Cause, once he gets moving, it's hard to catch him. Things happen. I'm not the coach. I'm not a coach. I go out there, I perform what's asked of me. And, this year I happen to be, a lot more blocking stuff, a lot more, helping out protection instead of, some of the stuff we were getting to in 2019. Whether that be the change of coordinator or just the change of kind of personnel that we dealt with. I have no true explanation for it, but I know that, if you saw the development from Luke, from when he first came to Syracuse to where he was at by the end of last year, as not only as a receiver but as a blocker. His future is really bright, and I hope that he has an opportunity to really get featured in the passing game this year a lot more than he was, because when he gets the ball in his hands, he's dynamic, and he's a super hard worker. Just another tough kid from PA who does everything right, and was able to kind of learn from me when he first got in here, and I'm sure that he's going to keep those traits that we've worked on. Every day it was kind of a welcome to college football for him, because every day my freshman year we were the first two guys on the field every single day, us and Coach Faree, just working underneath the chutes, working route work, working our feet, and I think that paid dividends off for both of us. And I'm really thankful to be coached under Coach Marino Faree. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for the role he plays on the team, but he's one of those guys who he does everything the right way, and he expects it done the right way every single time, and there's no BSing with him. And especially for young men coming into that program, I think that's the best thing that you can have as a coach like that, who's going to tell it to you how it is. And he never played no favorites or anything like that. At the end of the day, he just wanted us all to be the best athletes we could be and the best men we could be. And I was able to grow a lot under him and learn a lot under him. Extremely thankful for him and his family. All the times they would take us in and have us eat at his house. His wife Rebecca, she's amazing. He's got 4 kids who are all super. And so like I said, Syracuse has a great tradition of tight ends. If you look at it, John Mackey, went to Syracuse, the best college football tight end every year. The award's named after him, John Mackey. And there's been a lot of guys that have came after him who have been great. And I think that going forward in the future, tight end could be a strong position for Syracuse, just because of the history that's been back there, and the guys they've been able to get before. It's just in terms of developing these guys and using them. The game's changing a lot, and for a couple years, you saw kind of the tight end position fade away, and now with guys like Travis Kelce and George Kittle, it's almost more prominent than it ever has been, especially as receivers. And teams are getting really creative in the way they can get big guys the ball, get the ball in their hands with space. And I hope that going forward that we could see Luke and some of the younger guys on that roster, Steve Mahar, Max Mang, both of those guys have great futures. Learned a lot this year. See those guys feature more in the passing game.
And speaking here with Aaron Hackett on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, you mentioned it. You're tied for the most touchdowns by a tight end in Syracuse history with the guy that I mentioned, Nick Provo, who, like I said, I believe was the last really utilized tight end in Syracuse history, played from 2008 to 2011. What does it mean to you to have tied Nick Provo for the most touchdowns by a tight end in Syracuse history with 9? It puts you above Roland Williams, who was part of the greatest show on turf with the then St. Louis Rams. It puts you above, John Mackey, the king of tight end at Syracuse, that went on to play for the Colts in the NFL. When you see the John Mackey names and the Nick Provo names and Chris Gedney, may he rest in peace, along with John Mackey.
Absolutely.
You're at the top of this list with Nick Provo, above Chris Gedney, above Roland Williams, above John Mackey. You are the leader in the history of Syracuse football in tight end touchdown receptions, tied for that. Like, what does that mean to you? And quite reasonably, if they had used you in the offense more this year, you would have been the leader outright, I would imagine, to say you'd have a couple more. So what does it mean to you that you're in history right now at Syracuse as the top tight end as far as touchdown receptions with Nick Provo, with names like John Mackey and Roland Williams and Chris Gedney behind you on that list?
Yeah, it's incredibly humbling, and it's a result of a lot of hours of work and years and years of just grinding and going at this thing. And all the guys you mentioned on that list are a lot of them played in the NFL. All of them had really great careers, and just to have my name brought up in any conversation with those guys is extremely humbling, and makes me want to work even harder to see how far I can take this thing, because I know all those guys are great and they had great careers, and I truly believe I can hopefully have a similar career path. Like you said, John Mackey, the king of all tight ends, man. Just saying it like that is crazy, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the people in my corner who pushed me and helped me work this hard, and kind of showed me the right way about going things, and just very humbling.
Coming here from Aaron Hackett. Aaron, before I let you go, you decided to enter the transfer portal. Tell me why.
So it just kind of came down to a multitude of things. I talked with Coach Babers after the season, and coming off this injury and kind of where I was at, I truly felt like the best thing for me to develop as a football player was to come down here in Fort Lauderdale, work with the guys at XBE Sports, Tony Villano, Anquan Bolden does my receiving work, all these guys, and have a 6-month period where I could train for the combine, train for pro day, and kind of see where I was at. Now, thankfully, the NCAA had given us that extra year of eligibility, where now I'm able to do that and still kind of, have an insurance plan and go off and play an extra year of college. And that's really what it came down to. I love my time at Syracuse. I love Coach Babers. I love all the guys on the team. But, at the end of the day, football is a business. And, I saw some stat somewhere on Twitter yesterday that the SEC raked in $439 million total revenue last year. And so, football's a game, but if you're just only looking at it through a game perspective, you're going to get burned, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and it's a multi-million-dollar corporation. And, in order for me to achieve the things I wanted to do and kind of go to where I wanted to be, I felt like my best opportunity was to come down here and train for the spring semester, do the spring semester remotely and train. And, just talking with Coach Babers and Coach Free, I completely understand that, me coming down here wouldn't be fair for me to come back to Syracuse in the next year, especially after those guys are going to go through winter workouts together and go through spring ball and, kind of gear up for the 2021 season. So that's really what it came down to, is just, me betting on myself and investing on myself. Coming down here, I work a training schedule where it's Monday through Saturday. I train twice a day with some of the best professionals. Tony, he trains Travis Kelce, Mark Ingram, all these guys, and really developed me into an NFL football player. Now, fortunately enough, I did enter my name into the transfer portal, and I wasn't going to come back to college just for any opportunity, but I felt that I had a really good spot at TCU. Coach Patterson, Coach Krill, kind of let me know the situation they're in, where they had just lost 2 guys to the NFL, have a history of putting guys in the NFL and really utilizing the tight end position, and they seem to have a good team coming back, and that was one of the positions that they were missing. They needed a guy who could come in and block and be a receiving threat and kind of be a 3-down tight end who can do everything. And in terms of where I was at physically at that point, I didn't think I was physically ready enough to make that jump to the NFL. So it kind of came down to, okay, well, what's my best option? A lot of guys are quick to pull the trigger to try to go to the NFL, but if you want to stick around and make a career out of it, it's not just getting there; it's sticking around. And some people don't totally understand that. At 21, 22 years old, is that if you want to make a career out of this thing, you got to get to that second contract, and you got to be able to sustain yourself in that league. And physically, I just thought I wasn't quite at that level to make that jump yet, coming off that pec tear and some of the things I had been through. So having a chance to come down here and really physically develop myself into, hopefully an NFL player, and then have an opportunity to come this season, play with the new team, and see where we can take this thing. Like I said, if you would have asked me after the 2019 season, would I be in Fort Worth, Texas, playing for Texas Christian, I would have had no idea. But that's the crazy thing about this game. It will take you all over the United States, and I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I'm excited to kind of jump in somewhere new. I kind of believe that comfortability breeds complacency. So when you're kind of in a place for so long and you get adjusted to the routine, you know what's coming next to you. That doesn't bring out the best in you. And being able to kind of switch it up and come down here and really train my body the way I need to train it has been huge for me, and hopefully will be huge for my career.
Yeah, and like you said, you never knew. I mean, you played as a true freshman. You played all 4 seasons at Syracuse. I mean, in any other world, it's over. So, I mean, yeah, there's a pandemic, and there was a lot of adversity that happened from that. But to know that when you were at Venice High School, I mean, this wasn't a real possibility. There's miracles, there's things that happen, there's the rose that grows after the tornado storm because there was enough rain and whatnot, and the sunlight that came after. So what can you say about that? Is finding a rose within the storm and finding an opportunity that presented itself that didn't even exist 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, and it's really crazy. And then to kind of think about it is that I probably would have redshirted my freshman year at Syracuse if they had passed that redshirt rule where you could play 4 games and still maintain a redshirt. But that rule didn't pass till after I played as a true freshman.
Yeah.
And, I think I may have played in 8 or 9 games as a true freshman. I don't know. But, if I was a year younger, then I probably would have stayed in redshirted for an extra year and had an extra year of eligibility anyways. And it's just crazy how things work out and crazy how opportunities arrive. And I'm just, like I said, I'm thankful that I have another year to go out and prove myself to NFL scouts and prove myself to myself that, I can take this thing where I know physically I can and, have an opportunity to play for a really good football team my last year.
Yeah, and we look at TCU and know that you're going to be inside of the Big 12. It's going to be an interesting thing here for you to be in a new conference. What are you excited about knowing that you now have this schedule? You're going to play SMU in California out of conference, and then you'll have those teams within the conference and within the state of Texas, different rivalries that you'll get to be a part of. What are you most excited about with TCU in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think just, experiencing a different level of football. We always say, Florida high school football is the best, whatever. But, I mean, if you want to see who does it the biggest, there's no doubt it's Texas. And, they treat football over there like a religion. And, all the games we're going to have an opportunity to play at some great venues, play at Oklahoma, play at Texas Tech, stuff like that. Which I never would have imagined. So I'm just excited for the opportunity, to play against some good ball teams. I played some great teams in my time at Syracuse. I played the national champions. I've had an opportunity to block first-round draft picks. Now I'm over here in Texas and kind of getting the same thing, just a different conference. So I'm excited. It's definitely an offensive-driven league. And, they like to put points up in that league, and I'm excited to be part of the dynamic offense. Excited to be part of a new family, too. So, just thankful for the opportunity, and, yeah.
Coming from Aaron Hackett. Aaron, from Venice to Syracuse to now TCU, I've always been in your corner, always rooted for you. I know that you know that. And I am so excited about this. I'm excited for, a hopeful NFL career for you, but I'm definitely going to be watching close with TCU. And I got some friends at Texas Tech, so I'd say go light on them, but I love them. I love you, but I'm going to tell you what's up. I hope that y'all both have a good game, but I hope that my man Aaron Hackett's got some double-digit touchdowns this year and is getting targeted throughout. I mean, to me, it makes sense that you and Nick Provo are at the top at Syracuse because you, in my opinion, with Luke coming up now, you're the best tight end that Syracuse has had in such a long time, and I don't think that should be taken lightly. I don't think you were utilized as much as you should have been, and you have been an absolute treasure coming into the team, and I feel that, hopefully when they have somebody in the future that has the capability that you do, that it's utilized better, because I really honestly think that as much as we saw Aaron Hackett, there should have been so much more, and I think you're a game changer, and I think hopefully that'll show at TCU.
Yeah, yes, sir, and absolutely. Like I said, I'm an Orangeman for life. I bleed orange. Syracuse, came from a kid who's lived in South Florida his whole life and came to upstate New York and felt like it was home for 4 years. And I'm extremely grateful for all the great fans, and they deserve a great football team up there, and I'm sure the guys are working their butts off to give it to them this year. And so I wish Syracuse nothing but the best. And Coach Babers, Coach Free, all those guys, I'm thankful for my time there, and just really appreciative of the career I was able to put together there.
What do you want to say to Luke Benson in the tight end room at Syracuse?
I would just tell those guys to stay focused and stick to the plan. And, there's going to be adversity. Everyone faces adversity in their careers. And some of those guys have already faced it in their lives, personal lives or, football. And I would just say, continue fighting that fight and continue fighting that fight. Pressure makes diamonds. You keep hitting that thing every single day, hitting that rock every single day, and just not worried about the end result, but just worried about working and working and working. Eventually that rock's going to break. And so I would tell those guys, just every single day, keep on working, keep on working, keep on working. Because, when you look back 4 years later, like you said, you might have, who knows what you could do. I came in as a no-name freshman. When I first walked in the door, guys, Eric Dungy probably laughed at me thinking that this kid, who is this? But, I ended up leaving as the tied most touchdowns at Syracuse career. And I'm so thankful for it. And, it happens really fast. You got to enjoy your time there. But, just keep on working every single day towards that goal. And, if you put enough man hours in and you work hard enough, I'm a firm believer that good things will come to you.
What does the Horned Frog Nation need to know about Aaron Hackett as they step into this season?
Yeah, I would just say, I'm more motivated than ever. I feel like right now I'm in the best shape of my life. And I'm only going to get better and better here coming in these next couple of weeks. And, I'm more motivated than ever to prove to them what I can do and help them win football games and, bring a toughness and physicality and nastiness to that team. And, just be ready to win some football games. I'm excited.
That coming from Aaron Hackett on Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Aaron, as always, I appreciate it. I respect you. And, keep that phone line open. I'll always keep mine open as well. And as I told you when I first talked to you, I'm in your corner, and I will continue to be. And I hope that you and I have a lot of great stuff to talk about to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everything. And, like I said, thank you to Syracuse Nation for being family to me for these last 4 years. I'll always bleed orange. Love you guys.
That coming here from Aaron Hackett. See, I told you, he's moved on. He's going to TCU for his extra year, but he gave Syracuse 4 years, and you heard the words there. I love you, Syracuse Nation. He spread that love. He spread that positivity, spread that passion. And like he said, I'll always be a proud alum. So I can't believe that it's already done, Aaron Hackett's time at Syracuse. But we're not done with Aaron Hackett, because once I build a relationship, once I build that bridge, we keep them and we grow them and we foster them and, do what we need to do to support them. So I look forward to talking with him very soon. And I'm incredibly grateful that he told this story here on Wake Up Call today. We'll take a step aside for our final fast break of the show and be back to wrap things up right after this.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. I don't care if you have to cross the border to do it. It is worth the drive every single time. There's no flavors like the flavors they put here. The combinations, the creations that they have at the Millhouse Market are second to none. From their homemade breads to desserts, their quinoa bowls, rice bowls, signature salads, brick oven pizzas, and over 30 different sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, is the Millhouse Market. You can download their app from the Apple app or Google Play Store by searching Millhouse Market. It's extremely user-friendly and with contactless pay, and they'll send you an email letting you know that your order has been received and the approximate time it'll be available. You can drive right up there Tuesday through Sunday to the drive-up window, grab your food, and go. And on the weekends, the Bistro indoor restaurant is open. And, of course, throughout the week, the general store with local products from local companies is there for you as well. The Millhouse Market is so much more than anything that you'll find in central and upstate New York. It's truly unique, and that is why the Millhouse Market is absolutely, positively, 100%, 150% worth the drive every time. With that being stated here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of today's show inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal with locations in Syracuse at 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, and 208 North Townsend Street, as well as their newest location right at the it's like the pinnacle, right at the when you come into Manlius, when all of those roads converge to one place. It is Cafe Kubal, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. I want to thank Joe Forgione for being a part of the show here with me today, as well as Aaron Hackett. Joe Forgione, somebody that I asked to be my co-host for MU Courtside, my first show that I ever created in my life back in 2003, November of 2003. That started out my professional career, and that career has continued here today as we now step into over 17 years, right? Because we started November 2003, and it's now past November 2020, so we're stepping into year 18, and I feel very honored to have such a friend as Joe, who we had a lot of conversation today all about life, and didn't even have to be about sports. It could just be about two friends talking, catching up on the air, and if it did anything for you, hopefully it's helped you to appreciate a conversation you've had with somebody you love, or maybe it's compelling you to make a call today after hearing our conversation and catching up with each other. Maybe you want to catch up with somebody that you care about so very much, and there's no better day than today, and it's the only day we got. So make sure that you take the time to take the time, and if there's an opportunity out there, grab it, take it, seize the day. Because if you don't, well, it's just going to be on a long list of shoulda, woulda, couldas. And I don't live in shoulda, woulda, coulda world. I live in the tried it, saw what happened, either kept it or let it go. But I got to go out there and rock it because that's me. And hopefully that's you too. And if it's not, well, I would maybe get to know that, maybe try that out a little bit, because life is meant to be lived. And I think that the sooner that you realize that, the better off you'll be. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show. I want to thank Aaron Hackett, who has also become a friend over time, somebody I appreciate and respect. Like I said, I can't believe that I went from talking to him in his recruitment days and seeing him, just talking with him from Florida, from Venice, thinking in my head, wow, this tight end could really be something special. Then he became something special. And then I think Syracuse really didn't use him as well as they should. And now I hope TCU does, and I hope he gets a shot in the NFL. So no offense to Syracuse. I just think you had a gem that maybe you didn't polish enough. You polished somewhat, but I don't think maybe you polished it as enough as you should have. And I hope that TCU is going to find a well-polished and well-refined Aaron Hackett, who has a great opportunity for the NFL, and then ends up here in the studio in our Wall of Fame. So a big shout out to Aaron, big shout out to Joe, a big thanks and a shout out to you for being a part of the broadcast, whether you've listened or watched. Thank you for going to wakeupcalldt.com and checking us out there, where everything is, our video, our audio, connection to all of our companies we work with, social media right here as well, Facebook at wakeupcalldt, Twitter at calldt, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. So find us there every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time when you want to talk during the show, and obviously find us there 24/7 on social media. You can tune in live to Wake Up Call every Monday through Friday, like I said, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Facebook Live, facebook.com/livenowdt, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and also the ad of YouTube Live, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And of course, we're on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com, which is our main site. You can also track shows like this and go back and listen to them on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Podbean. You can go to Apple TV and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you can find us there too. And of course, like I said, on YouTube, you'll find the videos on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Carvel DeWitt, Cafe Kubal, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Avicoli's, where you can go online to myavicoli's.com and use the promo code AVS10 for 10% off. Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. If you go to maandpaspopcorn.com, especially for Valentine's Day, use that promo code DT20 and you'll get 20% off at maandpaspopcorn.com. Use that promo code DT20 for 20% off anywhere in the United States, and of course here in our community. If you order for in-store pickup and you do it online, you can still get the 20% off. And a big thanks to our beverage partners, Body Armor, as well as Coca-Cola and Reign and Monster Energy. So thank you to everyone in the community that is helping to build us up and take care of a community that I was born and raised in and love so dearly. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic start to your week. We have amazing guests that are coming up this week, from Shamarko Thomas and Prince Tyson Gully of Syracuse football history, to having Leo Routins on, who played for Syracuse and continues to be on the TV side of things for the Toronto Raptors, bridging the gap between us and Canada, which isn't that big of a gap from Syracuse, just a few hours. And, of course, you'll hear the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicoli's. You'll hear the annoying moment of the week, presented by Carvel DeWitt. LEAD, which stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Our faith-based and positive segment, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero with my co-host Juanita Ward. You'll hear the top dog of the week, announced by a fantastic duo of companies, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where we spotlight somebody every single week. And there's plenty more to come from there. There's other special guests that will be joining the show. And my cousin, Fran Tortora, who plays lacrosse, has now decided to add basketball this season to CNS North Stars. And she will be sitting right here next to me this Friday for TGIF in studio. And I can't wait, because she's going to be with me here that morning, which is the morning of their first game. So she'll be here with me doing an exclusive right before the game starts, and I can't wait for that opportunity. So a lot of great stuff coming up this week, and excited that in a couple weeks we'll have Florida in focus, and Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will do a video series where we will spotlight someone connected to the state of Florida that's been on the show every single day of that week. It'll be like anything else, like watching Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or Jay Leno, whatever it may be, watching us, David Letterman. Essentially, we will be showcasing Florida and putting Florida in focus with a special guest every day and a special topic every day with that guest. Very much looking forward to the Wake Up Call OTR, the hashtag Wake Up Call OTR, which stands for Wake Up Call on the road, or you can use the hashtag Wake Up Call everywhere, when we spend a week of broadcasts in Florida with the best that Florida has to offer. So, a lot of great stuff coming up. Very excited. A couple weeks away from that officially, and starting off this show great. Ton of guests coming up next week in the middle of all of this. We have a jam-packed February full of love, full of positivity, and full of you getting the messages that hopefully you need to hear to know that you're special, you're important, you are enough, and you can achieve anything. So, with that being said, as we always end the broadcast on Wake Up Call, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk with you soon.